Hi there, now we're going to do lesson 127. There is no love but God's. There is no love but God's. Perhaps you think that different kinds of love are possible. Perhaps you think there is a kind of love for this, a kind for that, a way of loving one, another way of loving still another. Love is one. It has no separate parts and no degrees, no kinds, nor levels, no divergencies, and no distinctions. It is like itself, unchanged throughout. It never alters with a person or a circumstance. It is the heart of God and also of His Son. So I grew up believing that there was a kind of love that you had for your grandmother, a kind of love for your parent, a kind of different kind of love for your lover, a different kind of love for a pet, for a child. You love your neighbor differently. You love your coworker differently. I used to think that there were all kinds of different loves. And early on when I met Ken, I remember having a conversation with him where he was clearly from the beginning a jealous person. And he was talking to me about the man who was my husband. He was my husband, so I called him my husband, my baby daddy, the father of my children. And it was clear that Ken had jealousies about Philip. So we had this conversation. I said to him, I still love Philip. And Ken got pretty upset. He said, what do you mean you love him? I said, well, I love you and him the same way. It's just love is love is love. I love everybody the same exact way. This was very confronting for Ken because he wanted special love from me. He wanted to be special in my world. But by then, I'd already done enough work that I knew I'd already had an encounter with God where I knew myself as one with everything, and I knew there is only one love. There are no degrees of love, no different kinds of love. So I said to Ken, I love you all the same, but our relationship is different. The purpose of it is different. You're my boyfriend. You're my lover. You're the one that I'm going to sleep with. I'm not going to have sex with Philip anymore. I still love him, but that's not the nature of our relationship. I love my children, but I'm not going to have sex with them. I love my children, but I'm not going to ask them to pay for my mortgage. I'm not going to pay for their mortgage. So, I love my neighbor. I love my teacher, but I'm not going to go over there and hug on them or hold hands with them when I go to the movies. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the nature of the relationship doesn't call for that. It's not appropriate in that relationship, but the love in my heart is the same. Because if I had to do different kinds of love for different people, I would have to shut my heart. I would have to close in and only dole out a little bit of love. A little bit for this one, a little bit for that one. Well, once your heart is open, love flows for everybody. It's the same for everybody, because once the love of God is moving through you, there cannot be any other kind of love. Where else would it come from if not from the one creator? And that's what this is stating. Paragraph 2. Love's meaning is obscure to anyone who thinks that love can change. He does not see that changing love must be impossible. And thus he thinks that he can love at times and hate at other times. He also thinks that love can be bestowed on one and yet remain itself, although it is withheld from others. See, I could not withhold love anymore because I did the work of realizing that it was my mind that blocked love from flowing. Once my mind was not focusing on fear, love had to flow completely. It wasn't until I began to fear Ken that my love for Ken actually began to close. Well, when my love for Ken began to close, guess what? My love for everybody began to close because it is only one love. People could feel that when I was around them. They would say, are you okay? I was closing. I was not feeling safe. I was not feeling heard. I was not feeling received. And other people could sense that. To believe these things of love is not to understand it. If it could make such distinctions, it would have to judge between the righteous and the sinner and perceive the Son of God in separate parts. And clearly, there is no sinner. There are no other brothers and sisters. There's only one. There are no separate parts. We're all a part of God, but we're not apart from each other. Paragraph 3, love cannot judge. And it is conditional love that judges. So when you begin to place conditions on people, you begin to judge them. You begin to limit how much love you're going to give them. But the thing is that when you begin to limit how much love you're giving them, you're limiting how much you're receiving. If you're not receiving love, you're not receiving clarity, you're not receiving inspiration. So as I began to have fears with Ken and I began to close, my ability to be creative began to minimize. I couldn't write as much. There was a lot of things that I couldn't do. I wasn't writing workshops. I was writing some workshops, but things were not flowing as easily. Let me repeat paragraph 3. Love cannot judge. As it is one itself, it looks on all as one. Love is only one thing. It's not even a thing, it's an essence. Its meaning lies in oneness, and it must elude the mind that thinks of it as partial or in part. There is no love but God's, and all of love is His. All love is God's, which is why God is love. There is no other principle that rules where love is not. Absolutely impossible. Love is everywhere. It is the substance that we're made of. It is the energy that God is. That's why God told me to call it Jiesel when I was having a hard time with the word God. Jiesel is an acronym, G-S-E-L. God is the source of the energy of love. So the energy of love is what God is, because it's all that there is. Love is a law without an opposite. This is why fear does not exist. In the Course in Miracles, in the introduction, it tells us that what is real cannot be threatened, because love is what is real, and what is not real does not exist. So there cannot be any fear. Just as there is no source of darkness, there is no power plant that creates darkness. There is no switch you turn on in your house to have darkness. Darkness is the absence of light. Love is what is real. Light is what is real. Fear is a block to love, as darkness is the result of a block to electricity, to light. Love is a law without an opposite. Its wholeness is the power holding everything as one. The link between the Father and the Son, which holds them both forever as the same. Our love for God and God's love for us is what has allowed us to have this experience of creating a universe, of creating galaxies, of creating life, of creating animals, butterflies and grass and water and all kinds of things, because we get to experience the projection of all of the things that we want to love. But because we have become conditional lovers, we have allowed conditions block love, therefore it creates fear. So when we're feeling fear, what we're really feeling is a contraction, our pulling back of love. So there is no fear. You don't feel fear. You just feel lack of love because you pull it back. There is no darkness. You feel the lack of the light because you've drawn the curtains and you block the light. So let's go to paragraph 4. No course whose purpose is to teach you to remember what you really are could fail to emphasize that there can never be a difference in what you really are and what love is. Love's meaning is your own and shared by God Himself, which means I am love, God is love. This is why God and I are one. The Father and I are one, as Jesus said 2,000 years ago. For what you are is what He is. There is no love but His, and what He is everything there is. God is, love is, I am that I am, because there's only love. And you and I are one because you are my brother and my sister as one energy, as one energy. Sentence number 5, paragraph 4. There is no limit upon Himself, and so are you unlimited as well. We are so powerful, so unlimited, beyond measure. That's why we're infinite. Paragraph number 5. No law the world obeys can help you grasp love's meaning. What the world believes was made to hide love's meaning and to keep it dark and secret. That's it. What the world believes was made to hide love's meaning. We believe that there are bad people. We believe that there are separate people. We believe that there's hierarchies to love. All of that is hiding the meaning of true love, because we're believing those things that we made up are true, and not that God created love and is what we are and is what is true. Once we come back to remembering that, hierarchies drop, darkness drops, Otherness drops, defenses drop. They have to, because you feel the peace of love. You feel love. You feel oneness with everybody once you understand that that's all that there is. Paragraph 5, sentence number 3. There is not one principle the world upholds but violates the truth of what love is and what you are as well. Isn't that wonderful to know? Nothing that we have decided, no human-made laws is ever going to violate the truth that love is what love is. We won't see that love is what love is, so we are the ones holding ourselves apart from the truth, but it doesn't change the truth that is. Paragraph 6. Seek not within the world to find yourself, capital S self. Love is not found in darkness and in death. Yet it is perfectly apparent to the eyes that see and ears that hear love's voice. Today we practice making free your mind of all the laws you think you must obey, of all the limits under which you live, and all the changes that you think are part of human destiny. Today we take the largest single step this course requests in your advance towards its established goal. The goal of this course is to train our mind to know that there is only love, not fear. That is what we're doing. To know that there's only love, everybody has to be innocent. We have to clean our mind of judgments, of ideas, of rights and wrongs, and I'm better or I'm lesser, of bullies and victims. All of that has to go away, because all of that is a block to feeling love. We cannot extend love if in our mind we've decided that's a bad person. We cannot extend true love if we see people as weak and incapable and not pulling their fair share. So we've got to get our mind trained to think only with truth. Paragraph 7. If you achieve the faintest glimmering of what love means today, you have advanced in distance without measure and in time beyond the count of years to your release. Seriously, you begin to practice this, years of suffering will be undone. But you got to believe that this is true, and you got to practice it to the letter. Let us together then be glad to give some time to God today and understand there is no better use for time than this. I know I did this, so I can understand. Most of us are going to get busy with the things of the world before we give God our time. It took me a while before I was like, God, what do you want to spend time with me now? But because I know that God and I are one, when I'm gardening, God and I are spending time together. I am tending to the flower, which is God, so I'm spending time with the flower because my mind is present to what is, because I'm loving what is. My heart is open. My mind is not busy judging the flower, talking trash about my neighbor or about anybody else. I am present to the moment, so I am always in communion with God. Rarely does my mind get blocked and I feel like I got to come back to God. But when it happens, when I allow my thoughts to block my mind, I, of course, forgive myself and go right back to the memory that, okay, let me get the communication going back with God, because I want to hear that guidance. That's what keeps my life fun and fresh and easy and joyful. I mean, it's unbelievable what flows through me when I stay open. Paragraph 8, for 15 minutes twice today, escape from every law in which you now believe. Open your mind and rest. The world that seems to hold you prisoner can be escaped by anyone who does not hold it dear. Anyone. If you don't believe that your good comes from the world, if you don't believe that your love comes from others, if you don't believe that your safety is out there somewhere, if you don't believe that your abundance is out there, if you don't believe that your wellness is out there, you can come inside and meet God. It's guaranteed. Why? Because that's all that's inside of you. Sentence number 4 in paragraph 8. Withdraw all value you have placed upon its meager offerings and senseless gifts. This is the world outside of you. And let the gift of God replace them all. Paragraph 9. Call to your Father, Mother, God, Spirit, Source, whatever you want to call it, certain that his voice will answer. He himself has promised this, and he himself will place a spark of truth within your mind wherever you give up a false belief, a dark illusion of your own reality and what love means. So we have to give up We got to open our hand, let go of what we believe, so our hand is open to receive what God believes. And God will give us what God believes. It has to. Why? Because God is all that there is. That my mind is made of God. The air that I can't hold but is right there is made of God. So the minute I let go of a righteousness or a judgment, my hand is now receiving God. But I know that that's true. And this is what we each have to do. Paragraph 9, sentence 4. He will shine through your idle thoughts today and help you understand the truth of love. In loving gentleness, he will abide with you as you allow his voice to teach love's meaning to your clean and open mind. And he will bless the lesson with his love. There is no love but God's. Isn't that beautiful to know that God is going to be blessing this lesson with his love? Why? Because love is all there is. Paragraph 10. I get so excited about love. It's just so amazing. I lived for so long with conditional love. It's delicious now to love with no conditions and love everything, love everyone equally. It's just so beautiful. It's so painful and so uncomfortable when I block that with a judgment. Paragraph 10. Today, the legion of the future years of waiting for salvation disappears before the timelessness of what you learn. This is bringing us to living in the now. Why? Because it's our past thoughts. It's the way that we perceive the world, which is projected from our past. Once you are in the present moment to what is, you are love. You're open. We close off to what is because our mind is afraid from past thoughts telling us close off, something can hurt you, or open up so you can get something. When you don't have that ego talking to you and opening and closing the gate at whim, you're open and you're present to this moment. And in that moment, your eternalness is experienced. So let us give thanks today that we are spared a future like the past. Today, we leave the past behind us, never more to be remembered. You know why we repeat the past always in the future? Because we take yesterday into today. Then we take today, which will be yesterday, tomorrow, into tomorrow. Why? Because our thoughts of the past keep going with us wherever we go. We're not letting go of the past. We're letting go of thinking about the past. That's what we're doing. But we cannot let go of thinking of the past until you see how much it costs you the love and joy that you say you want. If you really want peace, if you really want love, if you really want joy, stop thinking about the past so that you don't keep repeating it, which is what blocks the present moment, blocks the now, blocks love. Why? Because the past always comes with fear. Paragraph 10, sentence 4. And we raise our eyes upon a different present where a future dawns unlike the past in every attribute. We're moving towards a clean slate. In a clean slate, we have to trust. We have to be open to receiving whatever comes, because when we can open up our heart and love all that is, whatever comes doesn't matter. Whatever comes is an experience for you to love it. When my divorce came, all right, it doesn't matter. It was how much love can I bring to this experience of divorce? My son is doing drugs, it does not matter. How much love can I bring to the experience? I meet a new boyfriend. Wonderful. How much love can I bring to this experience? If he doesn't want to be with me, I don't want to be with him. Wonderful. How much love can I bring to that experience? Am I going to a funeral? How much love can I bring to that experience? Am I going to go see the doctor and get a diagnosis? How much love am I going to bring to that experience? That's what this is all about. You remove your thoughts about the past. You're no longer projecting it into the future. You're present in the now moment. How much love can you bring to what is now? Because if you love what is, you and God are one in that moment. Loving. God is loving the experience through you. Why? Because everything is love. You're present to it, or it's calling for you to be present to it. This is so amazing. Paragraph 11. The world in infancy is newly born, and we will watch it grow in health and strength to shed its blessings upon all who come to learn, to cast aside the world they thought was made in hate, to be love's enemy. So we have enemies. We're not going to love you. That's how we create love's enemies. But the world will be born anew today in this fresh new moment, If we begin to open up our heart, if we begin to trust the truth that is true always, that we are in the mind of God, that we are safe, that is pure energy, nothing can hurt us, then we begin to receive our strength and our health. Why? Because our fears block our wellness. Our fears are thoughts that become so dense because they've been thought so many times that they condense in our body. They create our illnesses, our anxiety, our suffering. Once you're not blocking the light of love, it is healing. Your whole beingness gets healed. Your whole beingness begins to reflect the translucency that is necessary for the love that we are to be cast upon everything that we see. Not with our eyes, but with the vision of God inside of us. Paragraph 11 still, sentence 3. Now are they all made free along with us. We let all of our enemies be set free. Now are they all our brothers in God's love. Now everybody is somebody that we love. I love my husband, father of my children. I love my ex-husband, who wasn't the father of my children. I love my current boyfriend all the same way, because I love them all with the love that God placed in my heart, and it is only one love. Period. Paragraph 12. We will remember them throughout the day, because we cannot leave a part of us outside our love if we would know ourselves. At least 3 times an hour, think of one who makes the journey. Think of one as one person who makes the journey with you and who you came to learn what you must learn. That means think of somebody who has been an irritation. They're here as a teacher. And as he comes to mind or she comes to mind, give them this message from yourself, capital S self, higher self, soul self. I bless you, brother, sister, mother, father, ex-husband, ex-wife, neighbor, friend, boss, president. I bless you, dear one, with the love of God, which I would share with you. For I would learn the joyous lesson that there is no love but God's, and yours and mine and everyone's. Basically, I am going to love you because I am so happy to find out that there is only one love, and as I give it to you, I am feeling it. Why? Because I always give to myself. Why? Because giving and receiving are one. Why? Because it's my job to save the world. By opening up my heart, I now can feel you in mine. How delicious is that? And when we allow ourselves to love another in our hearts, oh my gosh, that's where God exists. That's what God is that feeling of love, pure unconditional love, peaceful, joyful, and free. It says everybody free to do whatever they do, because whatever they do won't matter. You're going to love them anyways. Why? Because you're giving it to yourself. It's a new kind of selfishness, but it's not a self-centered selfishness. It's a we're becoming centered in our higher self. We're becoming centered in God. We're coming to the center of what God is. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.